this is really a weird thing. And not to go into detail, but I really felt like God was showing me that I'm wasting my life focused on money. Like he said, you got to stop focusing on money. You are enough. Who cares what other people think? You don't have anything to prove. You need to focus on what's important. And that is my family, my kids. Literally, just like in a movie, I had scenes replay in my mind. And this is midnight, by the way, in the middle of the night, of my kids coming up to me and saying, Dad, can you play with me? Can you do this? And me saying, I can't, I'm busy, I'm working. And that hit me hard because God showed me that in a vision or whatever you want to call it. And so that really put me in a place to where I stopped caring about money. Obviously, it's a necessity, but it's not my focus anymore.
In this episode, my guest is Chris Romney, and he shares the best advice he ever received from Ed Mylett. We talk about the role of men as husbands, fathers, and leaders, and why making money isn't the only thing you should focus on in business. Let me read his introduction to you. Chris Romney is the founder of Romco Roofing, based out of Arizona. He originally grew up in northern Chihuahua, Mexico, where he grew up working on a peach orchard on his family farm. Surrounded by self employed farmers and ranchers, he learned early on what hard work looked like and that he wanted the kind of freedom that comes only from working for yourself. That vision became reality after getting laid off from a corporate job while his wife was expecting twins. With nothing to fall back on, Chris went all in on entrepreneurship and never looked back. Today, he runs a successful roofing company in Arizona and has business interests in both the US and Mexico as an investor and hard money lender. Most importantly, he's a proud member of his church and he's a husband and a father to 4 kids from ages 13 to 9 years old. Let's get started. So, Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Matt. It's good to be with you again. Good seeing you again.
So, you have a background as a roofer, and that started somewhere around 2014. Tell me about life before that and how you got started in your business.
Yeah, so before that, I grew up in Mexico, a small farming community, and everyone that I knew in town was either self-employed as a farmer or a rancher. And so growing up, I was surrounded by business owners, self-employed folks, and I always had it in my heart to have the freedom that I saw my dad and his friends have to go hunting, to go fishing whenever they wanted. There was never a, well, I can't get off work, so we can't go do something, right? So I always felt like I want to do something for myself. And fast forward into getting into adulthood, getting married and having kids, I found myself in a cubicle working in corporate America. And that lasted for about 7 years until I had a little disagreement with my superiors about a promotion they were supposed to give me. And I kind of let them have it and they let me go. And at that time, my wife was pregnant with twins. We were expecting like in a month away, and I lost my job at that time. And so I kind of got put in a position to where, not out of ambition, but actually out of necessity, I had to go ahead and get into entrepreneurship at that point.
How did you get into roofing?
So once I got let go, I started looking at opportunities to get out of an office environment. And there was a company out of Louisiana that came into the Phoenix market to work a hailstorm that happened in 2010. Now, at the time, when I got involved with them was not till 2012. So this is about 18 months after that hailstorm came in, and I started doing door-to-door sales for them. And they provided me a truck, a base salary with the upside of some commissions for sales. And they were very cutthroat. They were, if you don't sell 10 contracts in 5 days, 2 a day, you're out. And if you're out, you don't get paid a commission. So it was like sink or swim. So there's a lot of turnover. I got in there, and because I had my baby twins on the way, I made sure I got 2 contracts a day. And if I didn't, I'd get 3 the next day, or spend all day Saturday making up for it. So I was the top sales guy for them for 7 months. And then they did not give me what they promised, in my view, as far as commissions go. And so I kind of just reverse engineered everything and figured out they should have paid me 350,000 in commissions over 7 months, but they paid me
Wow.
70,000.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was like, I can't keep doing this. And so they left. They went to another market in St. Louis and wanted me to kind of chase storms across the country with them. But I had my kids on the way and I'm not going to do that. So I just started my own business after they left town, doing this on my own since that point.
what was the most important thing you learned doing door-to-door sales?
That the more no's you get, you're going to get that much closer to a yes. Like, to not let it affect you. Don't let it take the wind out of your sails. And that's one thing I learned from this company that I appreciate is doing door-to-door sales for the first 2 weeks. I was this close to quitting. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is not fun. I don't like getting doors slammed in my face. I don't like being told stop bothering me. But when I had my kids on the line, twins on the way, it put a different perspective and a different drive in me than I ever experienced before, where I was like, I have to do it because I have no other options. So it just kept me going until I got the contracts I needed. And one thing about it that I think people can benefit and learn from, especially in nowadays when everything is instant gratification and we're always distracted, is you need to be able to put in the work without worrying about the outcome. And then, because I wouldn't get paid commissions for 60 to 90 days starting out. So even though I had this huge pipeline, I wasn't making any money for the first 60 days. Pipeline go, and then that's when the money starts coming in. A lot of people don't make it that first 2 months to see the fruits of their labor, but it's just really important that you put your head down, do the daily things, and then don't worry about the outcome. Just keep going every day.
Do you see that in young people today? You have 4 kids now. Do you see that sometimes they have a hard time with deferred gratification?
From a masses standpoint, I think so. I think everyone wants something right away. I mean, we've been conditioned that way. We're in a microwave society, and I think if we don't have it now, we're like squirrels. We'll just go to something else. Like, oh, I mean, ADHD is a big thing too. It's a blessing and a curse sometimes. And sometimes I'll get focused on one thing and be like, hey, I didn't get the outcome I wanted. I'll try something else instead of sticking with it long enough to see that hey, it'll work. You just got to focus on it long enough. And I think kids, at least my kids, they're very interested in making money. They want to go do vending machine businesses. They want to go do something, and they're only 13 years old. So I like that they see that they want to do their own thing as well.
Yeah, when my we read Rich Dad Poor Dad many years ago, and we started in business that way. But my daughter had a little vending machine in one of the fire departments, and I remember she was probably, I don't know, 10 years old maybe, and she we were sitting there in Starbucks, and she's got her coffee, and she's like, "Yep, I'm just sitting here making money," and it was the little quarter eaters, and so that's how kind of she got into entrepreneurship. She works with us now, so it's really great to have a family business. It comes with its own challenges, obviously, but yeah, teaching kids about entrepreneurship young, like you on the farm, that's great. What were some of the early wins that you had in your business? So you go from, selling door to door to starting your own business. What were some of the early successes that gave you the confidence to keep going?
So initially, when I first got it started, it was a struggle because I didn't have a license, and I was working under the umbrella of some other company when I was doing door-to-door sales. And back then, you couldn't just go on the ROC and get a license. Post COVID, anyone that can fog a mirror can go get a license, unfortunately. But when I was there, you had to have 4 years experience and have it notarized by your previous employer. So I started working under a general contractor's license, selling roofs under their license. And I would give them a rip for any jobs I sold to use their license. And I did that for the first several years until I had the experience to get my own roofing business. Along the way, I did start working for other roofing companies along the way. It wasn't exclusively underneath the GC, but I was working under local roofing companies' licenses as a journeyman for them until I had my experience. And then once I had 4 years experience, I got my own license and started my own business. The real success didn't really happen until I did start my own business. And what I did is I took what I learned from that company that came here from Louisiana to just focus on two cells a day. 2 cells a day. Just break it down to something simple. Don't sit there and try to think of the big outcome. Just get one contract in the morning and get one in the afternoon. And that was my focus. And if I did that every day, I can lift my head up after 90 days and turn around and say, okay, I got 5 installs a day every day for the next 2 months. And that's where I was like, okay, this works.
Have you used that in any other areas of your life? It seems so simple, but so powerful.
I wish I could say, oh yeah, I have, but now that you mention it, I mean that's applicable to anything in life, whether it's your daily habits, whether it's practicing your faith or building your relationship with your kids and family. I think it's all relatable, and yeah, I think I haven't done it as intently as I did with my business, but I think that you make a great point that it's very applicable to all areas of life for sure.
I had gotten out of the habit of doing things as healthy or as exercising as much as I wanted to. And I used this technique the other day. I was like, I wanted to go swimming again. So I joined a gym and I said the first week, all I had to do whenever I swam was get in the pool. That was it. And so, like for the first week, it was like get in the pool. Well, now that I'm in the pool, I might as well swim one lap. So I'd go down and back. Well, that wasn't too hard. And so then I'd go a little more. And anything over one lap or getting in the pool was a win for me. And sometimes setting up the smallest wins actually helps you gain that momentum that keeps you going. So that's been really powerful. I want to circle back for a second. You said that some young people don't stay focused long enough. I use the example of a drill that a lot of times that when we're doing anything, if you've ever drilled through like metal, you kind of usually have to do a center punch and dink, put a little dot in there, and that's your focus. And then you need to pull the trigger on the drill and you need to keep that drill bit going long enough until you drill through the metal. And I think a lot of problems today are from lack of attention, lack of determination, persistence, that we just need to keep drilling until we punch a hole through whatever we're trying to get through. That could be the mental beliefs, the mindset, whatever it is. But if we stay with it long enough, we will eventually carve a hole through whatever we're trying to get through. Do you use any sort of mental tricks or mindset hacks that have helped you? I mean, you gave the one of 2 sales a day. What else do you use that's been really helpful?
Well, to kind of rewind, between me working in a cubicle at a corporate job, I was dabbling in the financial industry as an independent insurance and security sales guy for a big company. And one of the leaders at that time, this was back in '07, so it's 18 years ago, was Ed Mylett. And Ed Mylett, great speaker, as we all know
Yeah.
now. But back then, I was like, who's this guy that's yelling at me, motivating me? But he would say, if you had a belief that any person you touch on the shoulder would say yes to you, what would you go do? And how many people would you talk to every day? And when he said that, it's like, it's just about belief system. It's about if you believe you're going to get the result you want, how many people would you talk to today about what you do, what you offer? And it's like, if you knew you're going to get a yes on every single person, there would be no end to the amount of people you talk to. And so, what that teaches me is that we're afraid of the no's, we're afraid of the rejection. And we're sitting there thinking, well, I don't want to fail. I don't want to do something and get rejected. But by not making the effort to contact people or tell people what you're doing, you're getting the result you're already afraid of. So just go do it. And who cares about who cares about the outcome? And so he was instrumental in motivating me, even in my roofing business 15, 20 years later, of the mindset of having a belief that people are going to say yes to you. And if they are, what's the amount of people you'd stop talking to every day? I'd be talking to people till midnight every night. So that's been a big help for me, just the belief system that enough people will say yes.
I love that. That's so powerful. So, as you're building your business, what were some of the tools that you used to help scale it? Because you're pretty big now. And what were some of the struggles that let's stay with tools. What were some of the things that you did to scale it to what it is today?
Well, getting mentors, coaches is a big thing. I'm investing a lot in myself, investing in myself. And so if you want your business to grow, you as a person have to grow. And that's what I've learned, that it's not about the systems and the knowledge and the processes. Those are all important. But until I change or you change the person who you are, your business won't change. And so that's what I've been focusing on, is changing who I am as a person, as a leader, as an example. And then that inspires people. Sean Whalen likes to use an example of a lighthouse. He's got a big lighthouse tattoo on his forearm. Your light is going to shine through the darkness. You have to be a light. You have to just show your light and not try to drag people with you, but just be who you are. And you know, people will find the light. They have to follow that light. And so that's what I've been doing, is changing who I am. And it starts with my faith, it starts with my family, and my business comes last. But my business is the beneficiary of me having a better relationship with God and having a better relationship with my family. It's just an automatic benefit that the business is going to benefit when you change those things.
I love that. I love the example of a lighthouse. It's been something that's been instrumental in my life. And the idea that it serves as both a warning and an example, right? It says, warning, don't hit these rocks. And if you're out there in the fog, it says, come this way. I'm here for you, right? And it stays put. It's a standard. It doesn't move. If lighthouses moved, there would be a big problem. And we as leaders in our businesses also have to do that same thing. We have to serve as a here's what to do and here's what not to do. We talked at before we hit record about imposter syndrome. Can we circle back to that? And you were talking about how you were in corporate America and you were making X amount of money, and now you're making more money, but yet sometimes you still struggle with feeling like, am I making enough when I compare myself to the bigger fish in the pond?
Yeah. So when you asked me to be on your podcast, I was like, am I qualified? Like, should I be on this podcast? And I realized that I never made it a goal to make a certain dollar amount. I never said I want to make $1 million a year and that's what I want to do. It was more of, I want to have freedom, I want to have control, and I want to have things done on my own terms. And so when I started my own business, that was the goal, just to have freedom. If I want to go fishing with my kids, I'm going to go fishing with my kids. And I wanted to make enough money to where I can make those choices and do those things. I don't want to wait till I'm 60 to have the freedom to go do what I want. I want to live that way along the journey. And so as I started doing well and making good money, I would always compare myself to what I used to be and say, "Oh, I'm doing great." Or I felt like I had arrived when I made six figures, seven figures in a year. I was like, "Oh, I think I've arrived. Like this, I'm a big deal now. I'm going to start investing in all these things, and I'm kind of coast and just kind of live off my passive income." And that was a big mistake I feel like I made, just because I had that mindset of a W-2 employee of, okay, I'm making seven figures now, I've arrived. But when I compare myself to other businesses and not individuals, is when I kind of opened up my thinking and started to think bigger, that it's not about me, it's not just about making money, it's about impact and purpose. And I can't make an impact with it and have purpose without impacting and changing the lives of others. And I felt like what I've done was great for me and my family, but what has it done for society? What has it done for a bigger impact? And I feel like a couple of years ago I had an experience where that came to a head, and I felt like God gave me an experience to show me that I'm capable of much more, and that I need to be doing something much bigger than I currently was doing. And I'm still on that journey to figure out what that really looks like. But I'm starting with bringing people along with me to win along the way, and not just winning for myself.
That's fascinating. How did you define success maybe before this event? And how are you defining success right now? Hey, real quick, we're building a community of entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. These are people just like you who want to start or grow their businesses and are ready to take the next step. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, sign up and join us today.
Before, success was having the financial freedom to do what I want when I want. Now, I see success as peace, just having peace, like peace. If I could have peace, mental health, physical health, a family that loves you and you love your family. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it comes down to. Like, I think we've been programmed in society to think that we have to do all this accomplishing to be happy. And I think it's a big lie. And even I catch myself even wanting to grow bigger as a company and do all these things. I'm like, is it necessary? Do I not have enough already? Can I just focus on what's important to me, my faith and my family, and the business will come, right? But I think there is a benefit to make an impact in other people's lives if people know who you are and you can bless their lives. I think most entrepreneurs, at least that I know, that came from nothing and made something, they're the most generous people you'll ever meet. They want to help people. They want to give back. They're not, nose in the air type of people. They are very down to earth and want to help. So I don't know if I'm rambling on, but to kind of answer your question, I feel like my idea of success is not tied to a dollar amount. It's tied to your character, to the kind of person you are and how you treat other people. I think it's really important that, I don't know who said this, and I'm not going to claim to quote it because it's way too smart for me to say I came up with it. But someone said, people will forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. I'm sure you've heard that before. And I feel like that's so true that just treat people with kindness and respect. And I've been a hothead. I've been a hothead, short-tempered person, and I've lost a lot of good people that worked for me because I've just been a hothead. And that's where I've learned to, like, you know what? It ain't worth it. You have to just be calm. And I think there's great power in being calm in chaos. And that's one big thing I've learned in entrepreneurship is when you get a challenge, it's about how do you turn this into an opportunity and not how do you kick and scream to make the problem go away. And that's been a long learning curve for me, but it's something I'm learning.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I think most of us start out as entrepreneurs to make money, to be able to pay the bills and make what we made as an employee, right? And as we go to higher and higher levels, sometimes that money we use it to fill that empty void that may be inside of us, like, am I enough? And eventually the money does feel really good, but then you look around and you go, I still don't feel enough. And can you chase that till you get 100 million, a billion, whatever it is? But are you going to get to that point where you're a billionaire, but you have no friends and no family and nobody who really cares about you? And so that idea of having impact and purpose in the world, I believe that the more that we give back to people, the more we get. And it's not manipulative. It's basically, if I help you today, Chris, with whatever you're dealing with, maybe you're a better husband, a better father, a better CEO, whatever it is, right? And that comes back to you in spades, as my parents used to say. And I didn't know what that meant, but it comes back to you in amounts more than you put out. And so that life of purpose is really amazing. And that's what it sounds like where you are right now, is that you've had success monetarily, but now you realize, you know what, that's not everything. And so I know that we talked about you wanted to share more and help people. And that path may not be clear for you, but I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what your vision is and maybe where you're going with this.
Sure. So 2 years ago, I had an experience to where I wasn't getting sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was feeling overwhelmed with just life, with all the work responsibilities, with the stresses of marriage, kids, everything. We all know all the things we juggle as entrepreneurs and family men. And I just had these anomalies, these experiences happen to where I had to take a step back and say, wow, that's not a coincidence. This is really a weird thing. And not to go into detail, but it was just, I had some moments where I really felt like God was showing me that I'm wasting my life focused on money. Like he said, you got to stop focusing on money. You are enough. Who cares what other people think? You don't have anything to prove. you need to focus on what's important. And that is my family, my kids. Literally, just like in a movie, I had scenes replay in my mind. And this is midnight, by the way, in the middle of the night, of my kids coming up to me and saying, Dad, can you play with me? Can
Oh,
you do this? And me saying, I can't, I'm busy. I'm working. And that hit me hard because God showed me that in a vision or whatever you want to call it, just like I was watching a movie, as plain as day. And I would open the scriptures because I was scared. I was like, what's happening? And scriptures would just, things would pop off the pages. And I was downloading stuff into my brain that I understood things like I never understood them before. And I was just getting downloads of truth and clarity. And it was a blessing for me because it showed me that God was looking out for me. And he was kind of telling me I'm on the wrong path. And so that really put me in a place to where I stopped caring about money. Obviously, it's a necessity, but it's not my focus anymore. It was for a long time. It was for about 10 years. But now I'm more focused about being a better leader for my kids, my family. And in finding my purpose, I feel like a lot of people could relate to that, to where they've been focusing so much on work, they've kind of lost grasp of their purpose and responsibilities in the home. And society would be a much better place if men would rise up and become the men they're supposed to be in their families and be the better husbands and better fathers that they should be. That's where real success happens, is in the home. Because if we win in the home, society wins, because our kids are going to be raised with the framework to be good members of society and be able to bless the lives of others if they are raised right. And so I feel like there's a huge need for men to stop lying to themselves, to stop making excuses, and to own up to their responsibilities. Us as men get overwhelmed. I got overwhelmed. It's just a lot on our shoulders. And then to add to it, hey, you need to do better. It's like, hey, hold on a minute. I'm doing pretty good. But with God's help, everything could become more clear if you ask for it. And one thing I've noticed that I'd never done in my whole life until recently, and I need to get better at it still, is taking time in the morning, early in the morning, to just sit still and listen. Now, it could be pondering, I could be praying, but I'm talking about just sitting with yourself and having no thoughts in your mind and just sit there and listen. And you'll be amazed at the things God will reveal to you if you just sit quiet and you're not on your phone, you're not distracted with your work day or rushing to the gym to work out. All those things are important, but I'm focused on taking time every morning to just sit in my thoughts, without thoughts, excuse me, clear my mind and just sit quiet and see what I learn.
I love that. So many things there. I want to circle back to one of them, but I want to share excuse me, Hal Elrod has a great book called The Miracle Morning. And in it, he talks about waking up at 5 a.m. He goes and he does exercise, he does prayer or meditation, he does a couple other things. And that's been my routine as well. And I really do. I love the fact that I can sit there and I'm grounded. I maybe be reading something inspirational, but putting your phone away, I think, is one of the biggest things that has helped. And you're right, just listening, asking a question in a journal and letting the thought come to you, closing your eyes and letting your own internal chat GPT find the answer for you, or the universe or God or whatever you believe in will be downloaded to you if you just sit there and be quiet. Sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's auditory, sometimes it's visualization, sometimes it's kind of all three, but it's those connections. And it's like the universe is knocking at your door saying, hey, Matt, are you listening? Chris, are you listening? I have a little download for you, something that you need to hear. I love what you said about men needing to step up and be more, because I think in some ways we have been taught that being a man, having the feelings, the emotions that we have are somehow toxic, somehow dangerous to the world. What do you think men need to do more of to become better fathers, husbands, leaders?
They need to get a relationship with their God, to be honest. And if they want to believe in the universe or source or their higher self, I think it's whatever, for me, it's God. And if you have a relationship with him and you don't go just check the boxes that you went to church once a week and that you read your Bible, it's, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm guilty of checking the boxes and just doing the things, right? But until that thing that happened to me 2 years ago happened, I'm working on a relationship with God versus I'm a Christian and I go to church, right? Um,
Right.
I think it starts there. And then once you have that relationship, God's going to clear the path for you to become who you want to become. In fact, it's who he wants you to become. And I feel like we're just along for the ride. If we put God first, everything that he sent us here to do and to become is going to happen because that's why we're here. I think we get in our own way of wanting things, wanting whether it's money, success, or whatever. I just feel like if you just put God first, you're going to accomplish everything that you've ever wanted to accomplish. And in a lot of cases, more, because he's got stuff in store for us if we'll just get out of our own way that he wants to give us. And that's peace. And that's, I think, alignment with who we truly are. And that doesn't always have to look like riches. It could look like a cabin in the mountains and having peace. I mean, that's my idea of success, of being out in nature and not in the rat race and the hustle and bustle of this consumerism reality that we are in right now, where everything's about consumption, everything's about buying something. And I think I'm exhausted with it, to be honest with you. But we live in this world, and that's part of life, to make money and to have commerce. But if I had it my way, I would just love to be out on a ranch, on a cabin, and with my family, and you know, eating our own chickens and you know, I think that's where we're all kind of drawn to that. That's how we used to live, and I feel like we kind of need to go back to that probably.
Yeah, I think most people feel that draw to buy some acreage outside of town and check out for a while and just look at the sunrise and the sunset, look out over the horizon and just think your thoughts, be still, listen for that still small voice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How has being a husband and a father changed your leadership style at work?
It's a good question. I feel like my leadership is a work in progress. I can sit there and say I'm a great leader, but until that I am living in alignment with my true self, with what I'm capable of, there's a lot of work to do. And I think just recognizing that people that come in to work with me, not for me, is a big key. I don't want people to come work for me. I want people to work with me, and I want them to win for their families, and I want them to accomplish their goals. And so what I haven't put this together yet, but I'm really passionate about doing is I want to get people out of where they currently are. If they feel stuck in a job, if they feel like they're not fulfilled, they feel like they're not making the money they want to make. I want to kind of help and create a community where they can get some support and some help to get there and understand that by doing so, they can win for their families. And it doesn't have to be on their own. It could be within work, a construct, some type of community where you can get the help you need to get where you want to go. I just feel like in the past, I've treated people as a means to an end for my own benefit, whereas that's not who they are. They need to take care of their goals and their dreams. And so I think it's real important that as a leader, when I sit down people, in fact, I just spoke to a gentleman in my neighborhood that lost his job a few months ago, and he wants to build something. He wants to do something great for himself. And I said, so do I. And why don't we do this together? Why don't you come in and help me scale this business? Because I'm looking to scale. I'm looking to scale and exit in the next 10 to 12 years. and he's got a wealth of experience in his line of work of scaling and putting systems in place and procedures, all the stuff that I'm not really good at. I'm good at sales, and he's good at processes and structure and stuff like that. And so I feel like it's just got to be a win-win. I feel like if you can win, it's a win-win, and you treat people with respect and help them accomplish their goals is what I've seen benefit for people that work with me.
How's your family seeing you differently now that you've kind of had this change from maybe money focused to family focused? What kind of things are you seeing?
A lot more time, I'll cut out time for the kids. When it comes down to it, there's a lot of time wasted even when I'm working. So the excuse of I'm busy working is just a cop out. It's bullcrap. You and I, we all have time. We just don't make it a priority. So it's about priorities. So for me, when I'm in the middle of something and my kid comes and says, I want to play ping pong with you or whatever, I'm still guilty of this. I'm busy. Let me finish and I'll come right there. But now I'll go and get it done in the same day versus, saying later and then forgetting about it. That's what I
Yeah.
used to do. I'm getting much better at it now. But at the end of the day, what's it going to cost you if you put off a task for 15 minutes to go and give your kids some attention? Because you don't know the long-term impact that's going to have on him psychologically. And that's something I'm learning now as I'm going through life is like, man, a lot of it ties back to my childhood. A lot of it ties back to my belief systems I learned as a kid. And a lot of it's a bunch of BS. It's lies that we've learned and told ourselves. And it's really shaped our relationships, my marriage, everything. And I want something better for my kids. So they're not have to go through the psychological struggles that I've had to go through. I really feel like I could massively benefit them. And this isn't just playing ping pong with them or spending time with them, but it's teaching them the things that I'm learning just now and showing them that it's okay to feel emotion. It's okay. I was taught to don't share your emotions. My family, anyone that knows me and our family is notorious for like they don't talk about them. They don't talk about their emotions. And that the biggest difference I think my family and everyone has seen is I won't stop talking now. I used to not say a word. I wouldn't say a word. I would sit in the back of the room in the corner and not say anything. I'm very observant. I would just take all in the information and not share or talk. And now I won't stop talking. I that's one big difference my family sees is I'm a chatterbox now and I talk a lot, and even all my friends and people that know me know that I'm just an open book now. I'm okay being vulnerable. I'm okay having feelings. I'm okay opening my heart up to people because at the end of the day, we're all human, we're all on our journey, and hiding those things isn't going to bless or help anyone else.
Yeah. I like Jordan Peterson, and I like what he says when you're feeling the emotion, notice what you're noticing. And that's been helpful for me because in the past, it would be like the emotion would be surrounding me. But now I can actually say, here I am, and here's the emotion. And now I can separate it even just a little bit and say, okay, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling fear, whatever it is. And then you can look at it, you can label it, and sometimes you can even show somebody else and say, this is what I'm feeling, and I don't know what to do about it. What do you think? Oh, I didn't know you were feeling that. Let me help you. Let me make this connection. You don't need to feel overwhelmed. I can help you do that. And offloading some of those emotions to other people in a positive way has been very, very helpful.
Yeah, I love it. That's good.
Yeah. As we kind of start to wrap up here, Chris, what are you doing right that you think most people get wrong
In business
in
or in
whatever
life, anything.
and anything that you're doing that if somebody were looking at you and saying, here's this guy on the podcast, he's doing some things right. What do you think that you're doing right that would be inspirational to somebody?
Believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. I think if anyone has some self-doubt about the fear of failure or falling on their face, guess what? I failed many times and I'm failing every day along the way. I would just say to anyone that's looking to do something different, or they feel like there's something more that they can do, but there's something holding them back. It's typically for me been fear of failure, fear of what people will think, fear of losing what you have. And I think that's just a big made up illusion to keep us from becoming who we really are. And so I think if people can just work on their mindset and analyze, kind of like you analyze, step outside yourself and analyze your emotions, analyze fear. What is fear really? What is it you're afraid of? Analyze that and dissect it. And then at the end of the day, you're going to realize, well, I already have what I'm afraid of if I don't do anything, kind of like what I alluded to earlier.
Yeah,
So I think that's been the biggest key for me is personal development, read good books, get a coach or a mentor, work on yourself. If you work on yourself, you'll be able to learn that a lot of the things that have been holding you in place are just mindset. They're just made up illusions of keeping you where you're at. And I think be okay to fail. Failing is part of the process. I've heard this from anyone that's done anything in life. They've failed along the way. And a lot of us want a shortcut and not fail. Pay money to shortcut and not fail. You're going to fail. Just get used to it. And that's part of the growth. That's part of the success. So I would just say, just go after it and fail along the way. And as long as you are doing it for good reasons, without malicious intent, you'll be successful, whatever it is you're putting your heart into.
I like that. I think reframing the word fail could be helpful as well. Instead of saying I failed, I learned something, right? You either learn or you
Yes.
win, or you win or you learn, something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I've heard that some people don't start a business or take the first step to start a business because of fear of, well, I don't feel confident enough to move forward. I don't feel confident enough to share the lessons that I've learned. And I love this book by Dan Sullivan called The Four C's. And the four C's are commitment, courage, capability, and confidence. And most people think that confidence has to come first in order for us to take that first scary step. But it really doesn't. The first thing is commitment, like you did. I'm going to start my own business. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm going to make that commitment. The second step is courage. Taking that first step is very scary, right? The third thing is capability. We don't develop capability to do something until we're actually in it and we figure out what's working and what's not. And then comes the confidence. And this is the same thing I teach my EMTs and paramedics, right? You have to be committed. You have to say, I'm going to pass the EMT class, I'm going to pass the paramedic class. And then you have the courage to go out there and try and fail or learn and win. Then you have the capability, and that comes from trial and error. And finally, you have the confidence, and that overcomes that imposter syndrome that we were talking about. And it takes a while. For the average paramedic, I think it normally takes them about 2 years. But I've heard from CEOs, I've heard from paramedics, I've heard from flight paramedics, nurses, doctors. Everybody deals with this lack of confidence. But so what? Just take the first step, and that confidence is coming. It's at the end of the road, not at the start of it.
Love that. Yeah.
Chris, as we wrap up here, is there anything that I asked you, or I is there anything I didn't ask you rather that I should have?
No, you've been great. I love the thought-provoking questions. This has been great. Tons of value. You've added a ton of value meeting you at that event. I mean, the way you articulate your questions, even at the event, is very valuable for everyone around you. So I appreciate your very thoughtful questions, and it was a great time. I just want to say thank you to all my brothers paramedics. So I I know what, not as much as he knows, but thank you to all the folks that are in the service, the emergency services, cops, paramedics, firefighters. I mean, hats off to you guys and for all those people that no one has any idea what they go through from a mental standpoint, a mental health standpoint, from what they have to see and endure every day. And it doesn't go unnoticed, at least for me. So I want to just appreciate to all those that serve in our community like that. Hats off to you guys. So
Well, Chris, that gave me chills. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And you're right. The average person has no idea the things that we see as paramedics. They just look at Hollywood and the way it's portrayed, but Hollywood gets it totally wrong. having to pronounce people dead, to see things that nobody should ever have to see, and then go home and act like everything's okay and everything's normal. It's a huge burden. And so I want to say thank you as well to everybody out there who's working police, fire, EMS, and doing the hard job every day. And they get up and they put the uniform on and they go out there and do things. You know, thank you. The world needs you. The world needs
Yeah,
entrepreneurs. It needs all of us, right? So,
absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
yeah. Chris, if they want to find out more about you or connect with you or your business and what you're doing, how can they find you?
Yeah, you could find me on social media on Instagram. My handle is my name, Chris Romney. 7 is my handle on Instagram. My roofing business is obviously just here in Arizona, so that personal one would be the best way to reach me. I am looking to come out with some some type of program to where I can help teach people, a lot of young kids that want to go out there, and there's a lot of hungry kids out there that want to go make money, whether it's in pest control, solar. I think there's a big opportunity for people that want to go learn the insurance claims business in roofing, and I think I could add value to that. So if you're interested in learning those things and learning how to make some good money for yourself, come find me on Instagram at Chris Romney 7, and I'll be able to put some content on there to help out.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being part of our community of entrepreneurs. You are now part of our subject matter experts. And maybe in the future, we can do some collaboration, some classes, or some education. I know the trades is hurting right now. Most people may not realize that if you want to go and do a trade, plumber, electrician, roofing, something like that, you can make 6 figures easily right out of school. You almost have to try not to make 6 figures in the trades. And so if you're interested, you could start as an employee working for somebody else, kind of like you did, and then you can own your own business where you have 10 plumbers or 10 electricians working with you to create the dream and the business and the lifestyle that you want, that freedom of time that we talked about.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, that's a great point. Like, I didn't want to go to school because I didn't see a career outside of school. So I think creating an environment where if someone wants to learn the trades, I would love to have people come in. I'll teach them everything I know about the trade business that I know about and allow them to go accomplish their own business and do their own thing. And they can make money while they learn. They don't have to pay to learn. I'm happy to teach and to help out that way. So
Yeah, absolutely. Micro and his foundation are doing great things. I think it's called the Micro Foundation. If anybody has any connections to Micro and could get him on the podcast, that would be amazing. I would love to help promote the trades. And again, what you're doing, Chris, the world needs people out there to help. And the good news is those jobs aren't going away with AI anytime soon. We're still going to need some plumbers, some electricians, somebody to climb up on the roof and repair that hail damage.
yeah, absolutely. It's been great, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Chris. Till next time, take
All
care.
right. Take care.
Want more? Click below for extra resources in our podcast vault. We have show summaries, action plans, and information about coaching.